Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory, the day after. The famous day after hurts even more. I've got a few more things to say about yesterday's game after having seen footage again and again and again over the past couple of hours. I didn't sleep last night. I literally spent the entire night flipping through my TikTok For You page, and how many times did that Homo's foul drop in it is infinite. But look, I think we have to be very careful to not do one thing, and this thing is, I hope. My only fear is, no, in fact, it's not a fear, it's a hope. My only hope is that this elimination from the Europa League doesn't demoralize the players and doesn't make them crumble apart. Because, yes, I agree. And I agree with the players. It's demoralizing. Not just the fact that we got eliminated, but but the way we got eliminated, it's frustrating, and we can't hide this frustration. But we've got a lot to play for in these next 10 league games. We've got more time to rest. We're back playing one game per week after a long while. And I think one of the big frustrations coming from yesterday's game is this feeling of emptiness inside us, which is a feeling that we're not used to. We weren't used to in recent times, because we always managed to get through to April and May in Europe. Now, for the first time in a while, we're out earlier. So I understand this concept of emptiness, and I can feel it as well. And of course, it will have some little repercussion in the players, in the energy of these players. But these players should not completely demoralize, because we've got a lot to play for. Now, again, this video I want to speak about a potential miracle of getting Champions League football, according to my own entitled opinion. But even if we don't get fourth, and we get fifth, or we get sixth, or we get in the Europa League again, it's okay. It's not the season that we all wanted back in August, but seeing how this season went, it's a miracle. It's a miracle to even taste and pronounce the word Europe. So these are things that, yes, are disappointing, because this season has gone in a very negative way. But we should also be proud that we managed to kind of resave it, to give a spark to it, and we're in these talks. We're in these talks of focusing on Europe again, Europa League, Champions League, whatever Europe it will be. We've got an objective of qualifying for Europe. 3 months ago, had we crushed out of Europe, our season would have been done. This season, as of now, it's not like this. We've got a lot to play for. So let's not dramatize the entire situation, including myself. Let's be positive. I don't want to see the fans boo the players on Sunday. I don't want to see it. I don't want to relive what we all lived months ago. Let's keep united, because it's frustrating. It is. I understand. We understand it. We feel it all together. The way we got eliminated is the frustrating part. But it's not over yet. We've got 10 finals to play. We've got 10 league games, and we need to squeeze the best out of every single one. But look, how is everybody feeling? Today's been shit. Today's been shit. It's normal to be shit. It's normal for it to be shit, because we're not used to it. We're not used to getting knocked out of Europe this early. So it is shit. And of course, I've seen a lot of people on Instagram go, Simo, what do you think of all the Lazio fans? It's part of the game. I've got nothing to say. It's part of the game. It's part of a big heated rivalry. When things go well, you mock them. When things go bad, you get the mockery from them. I'm not touched at all. For the last 6 years, they've been sat on a sofa watching us dominate Europe. So sometimes the game switches. Sometimes the table turns. and this year it's their chance. But right, I want to look at these 10 games. I want to look at these 10 games. I want to analyze these 10 games. I want to answer the question that brought you here. Do I think there's a chance to get Champions League football? And if not Champions League football, um, Europa League football, and how important it is to, even if it's not the Champions League, to continue playing in Europe. Okay, so oh yeah, first of all, last comment on yesterday is that my latest update on the red card opinion. I've seen pictures and clips about, I'm not joking, I've seen them about 300 times over the last 8 hours. I've seen different angles. I've seen literally that footage 300 times in the last 10 hours. My conclusion is that it's a foul, but it's not a red card. And again, people will say that I'm just saying this because I'm a Roma fan. It's a foul, but it's not a red card. Because, first of all, I cannot possibly agree with anybody who says that it's a clear chance. I am sorry, but I can't. I can't, because a clear chance which deserves a red card, cannot be that. Number one, it was in the middle of the pitch. Number two, Hummels wasn't the last man, because Mancini and Wrench were literally on an equal parallel to him. Number three, Hummels gets the ball first and then gets his legs. So it's a foul. I'm not saying it's not a foul. I'm not saying it's like he completely got the ball and he only got the ball. No, he got the ball first and then he got the legs. So it is a foul. But because he got the ball first, it's not a red card. And second of all, because he gets the ball first, the ball, instead of going vertically, gets a more deflected trajectory, which shows you that the ball was not going straight on Svilar. It was going wide, which proves to you that it's not a clear chance. I don't want to bind myself on referees. I've said this yesterday, and I'm not hiding that Hummels made a mistake. But the tackle, in my opinion, was not a red card. It wasn't a red card. It was not a red card. But it is what it is. We can't change the past. Let's look forward. And let's look at these 10 games. Now, the big question is the big objective. In fact, more than objective, I would call it dream or miracle. Champions League football. Let's look at the situation. The situation says Juventus 4th with 52 points, out of Europe. Lazio 5th with 51 points, still in Europe. Bologna 6th with 50 points, out of Europe. Roma 7th with 46 points, out of Europe. Fiorentina 8th with 45 points, still in Europe. And Milan 9th with 44 points, out of Europe. You've got 6 teams all fighting to get that last spot, because Italy won't have 5 teams this year. 6 teams fighting for that spot, separated by 8 points. Yes, I do still put Milan in it. Why do I still put Milan in it? Because Milan scares me for one thing. Not because they are good, because they're not good. Milan are terrible and we need to beat them at home. But Milan scares me because there is a system against us. In Europe, in Italy, we've seen it. There is a clear system which is more powerful than us, that does not want Roma to succeed. And this system, in this case in Italy, would much rather Milan get in that Champions League than AS Roma. So they will try their best way possible with their referee decisions to bring Milan in it. Similar to Juventus. I'm going to say this now. There is no world that Juventus don't get fourth. Not because they're amazing, because they're shit this season, but because there is no world where Juventus don't get brought inside the Champions League by this institution, by this corruption, and by this system. I don't want to turn into Jose Mourinho, always binding myself on referees and on a larger scale system. But I've come to the conclusion, after almost 20 years that I'm on earth, having lost the final the way we lost it, having seen my team presently with my eyes lose that final, and having seen my team be subject of the worst robberies ever, in 2025, there's a system, there's an agenda against us, and this agenda favors northern clubs. So as much as we can try our best to play in the Champions League, I can guarantee you that Juventus will get brought in it, because there is no possible way that the Italian institutions tolerate a league without Juventus going in it, in the Champions League. There is no way. So, answering the question, do I think we'll get Champions League? My first blockade here is, we'll be denied. Even if we win all the games, they will find something to bring Juventus in it. Okay? They will. I'm sorry, but they will. So I already know, because so that when it actually happens, I won't be that mad. That's the first thing. On a football level, do I think it's possible? It's not impossible, because impossible means that there is a 0% chance, and the chance is not 0%, but it's very unlikely. There's a difference between being impossible and being very unlikely. Don't get me wrong, but it's unlikely. I mean, it's unlikely, and it's unlikely not because we'll be bad in these last 10 games. In fact, I see us do quite well. We're back playing one game per week. We're back resting players, allowing rotations. I don't necessarily see a catastrophe of the last 10 games, but the problem is the solution is that I don't think it's possible for this team to get Champions League, seeing the handicap that they started with at the start of the season. The teams around you can be as bad as they want to be, but don't hide the fact that we were literally 18th, 7th, 16th by Christmas. So if we get fourth, it will be a bigger miracle than Claudio Ranieri winning the Premier League with Leicester. But we of course need to try our best game by game. In my opinion, hang on, let's look at the games we have, because of course calendar is not an easy calendar. We've got 10 games left until the end of the season. Cagliari at home, Lecce away, Juventus at home, Lazio away, Verona at home, Inter away, Fiorentina at home, Atalanta away, Milan at home, Torino away. In order to get Champions League football, in my strict opinion, you need 70 points. Maybe a bit less, because in general this season the teams have been very bad. Normally, to be in the Champions League, you need 70-ish points. Looking at the league table last season, not counting the 5th spot, because we're not going to get that 5th spot this year, Atalanta got 4th with 69 points. So last year, 69 points got you in the Champions League. The year before that, 70 points got you in the Champions League with Milan. The year before that, Juventus got 4th, 70 points got you in the Champions League. The year before that one, 78 points got you in the Champions League. It's decreased. The limit has decreased. I think Champions League football, you need 70, seeing how bad Juventus, Milan, Fiorentina and all of these teams have become. I'd argue you need 68 points to be in the Champions League next season. If you get 70 points, you're in it. I'm almost convinced about this. But remove a few points because Juventus are bad, Lazio are still in Europe and they need to balance the two. Fiorentina are still in Europe and they're in a massive decline in the league. And Milan are the weakest Milan of their history. So taking in consideration all of these factors, let's say you need a bit less than 70 points. Let's say you need around 68 points to play in the Champions League. Roma currently have 46 points. What's 68 minus 46? I'm just coming from a statistics exam, but I want to enjoy my weekend and I have removed the mathematics in me. 22 points. You need to get 22 points in 10 games. Available 30 points. You need around 22 to 24 points to almost have the certainty to play in the Champions League. 22 points. Let's say 23 points. 23 points divided by 3 is 7.66666. So you need 8 wins out of 10 to play in the Champions League. If you ask me if that's possible, I say no. Because you look at the calendar that we have, and we've got 10 games. We need to win 8, and then the remaining 2, you can do whatever you want. So you have got a limit of only losing 2 games and winning all the rest, not even drawing the rest. So to get Champions League path, Roma 7th, 46 points, get the calendar out. The path to the Champions League needs to look like this. This is my opinion. Cagliari, you need to win. Let me write this down, and then we'll look at it at the end of the season. Hang on, let me get a piece of paper. Let me get my French notebook. Okay. Right, let's get a pen. Let's write this down, step by step. Red pen. I hate red pens, but it's the only pen I can find around me. No, hang on. I might have one here. Yes. Okay. You've got 10 games left. Let's write down, hang on. I can't see the comments, by the way. Okay. Right. I'll read comments in a second. 70 points is the target. 70 points is a certainty. I'd argue you need a bit less to play in the Champions League. Let's say 67, 68 points is what we need. Okay? That's your job. That's your goal. And we currently have 46. Cagliari, you need to win. Lecce away, you need to win. And remember, facing relegation teams at this stage of the season is not the easiest of jobs. Juventus at home, you must win. You must win if you want a chance. Juventus are weak. Juventus are bad. Juventus are in complete chaos. You're playing at home. Not even a draw is fine. You need to win. Lazio away. Considering that this game falls in between Lazio's 2 games against Bodo Glimt, and considering that you only have these games to play for, I would say win. But it's a derby, you're playing away, it will be a Lazio stadium, it's always a derby with pressure. I will accept a draw. So I'm going to put a draw on that one. Verona at home, you need to win. Inter away, let's say you lose, because Inter still want to win the league. So let's say you lose that one. Fiorentina at home, you need to win. Atalanta away, there's no way we win in that ground. We never win there, so that's a loss. Milan at home, you got to win. Similar discussion to Juventus, if not even better. Milan are shit. You're playing at home, it's the second to last game of the season. Maybe Milan still haven't... Maybe by then, Milan understand that they can't mathematically get in the Champions League. So win against Milan and win the last one against Torino away. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins, 1 draw, 2 defeats. 3, 6, 9, 10, 13, 16, 19, 22. 22 points. That's 22 points. 46 plus 22. What did we say that was? 46 plus 22, 68. This will get you Champions League football, in my opinion. But you need to do this. You need to get this. And knowing Roma, now look, it's the first time in a while that we get to play the end part of the season without the European deconcentration, if you want to call it. So we can tackle big games on a more serious level, on a more serious note. But it's a lot. Like, it would be a miracle. It would be a miracle. This is what needs to happen, in my opinion, for us to play Champions League. Europa League is possible. Europa League is very possible. Yes, Europa League is very possible. And of course, all the results need to go in your favor. Like Bologna losing as many points as possible, Juventus losing as many points as possible, Lazio losing as many points as possible. Fiorentina, in my opinion, Fiorentina are the weakest in the list. I think Fiorentina will fall behind Milan. So, because they also have the Conference League and they will want to try and win it. I can't imagine Fiorentina losing 3 finals in a row. So yeah, Fiorentina, in my opinion, will get 9th. Milan will get 8th. Lazio 6th or Roma 6th. I can't tell. What I'll say is that I think we'll get Europa League. I don't think we'll get Champions League, but I think we'll get Europa League. And seeing the season, Europa League is another miracle. Like, if somebody right now says to me, sign on this piece of paper and you play Europa League next season, I will sign it immediately. If somebody says to me right now, you can end the season, go on holiday, but you get Europa League and not Champions League right now, I will sign on it. Because months ago, we would have never even thought of qualifying for the Conference League, let alone the Europa League. Okay? So yeah, I would sign for it. I cannot imagine a season without European football. I don't want it to be the Conference League, but Europa League football I take every day of the week. Every day of the week, especially in seasons like this one. So, yes, I would sign on it. But look, out of Europe early, let's try to pull a miracle to get Champions League. If it doesn't work and we get Europa League, I certainly won't be crying. If there's one person who would cry, who will have the ability to cry, it's Dan Fredkin, because he won't get the money from the Champions League. But then he understands that the reason why we didn't get Champions League is because of his decisions. Because had he been a bit more careful with the decisions that he made this season, in my opinion, this season, you'd have walked in the Champions League. You would have walked in it. But look, it is what it is. Yeah, like, for me, I've said this yesterday, I will say it again. I want to win that trophy so much. I want to travel to more away games around Europe with my mates. So, Europa League for me, yes. Conference League, I'm not sure. But again, I can't even imagine a season without Europe. Like, these few months are going to be boring. Imagine a fucking full season without Europe. It'll be, but I think we will get Europe, because I think we will. I think we will. We'll get Europe. I just can't say if we'll get Conference League, Europa League, or Champions League. If I had to bet on one of the three, I'd go with Europa League, which I wouldn't complain about. But we gotta try and aspire for the best. So Champions League will help a lot. In terms of the money, in terms of Champions League vibes, I miss it. Of course, we won't win the Champions League, but it will be a breath of fresh air, also on a constructive point of view. Because if you qualify for the Champions League and get the money, then you can build a good team, which can maybe go out of the Europa League group stage, Champions League group stage, and that would be the first objective. And then, if not, in future seasons, keep growing, and maybe the moment you return in the Europa League, you win it. So no, sixth is not Conference League. Seventh is Conference League. Fourth is Champions League. Fifth and sixth are Europa League, and seventh is Conference League. Of course, would there be the chance to have bring 5 teams in the Champions League, then our chances would increase. But Italy won't. Italy won't get 5 teams in the Champions League this season. I read there's like a 2% chance that it happens. So it would be such a Romanist thing to get fifth the season that Italy doesn't bring 5 teams in the Champions League. Oh my god. It would be such a typical Roma move to get fifth the year we don't bring 5 teams in the Champions League. It would I'm not even I'm gonna bet on it. I'm gonna bet on us get fifth because it's so gonna happen. It's such a typical thing that would happen to us. Roma is worthy of the UCL. In recent past, we've done well. It's this goddamn Serie A that's gotten so competitive and difficult to qualify with Thursday night obligations. We'll get kicked out of the Champions League in the group stage. Well, but I think, you know, it's it's just the idea of competing against the best, which is very entertaining. Of course, you won't win the Champions League. The goal, if we get Champions League, the goal would be to reach the quarterfinals. That would be historical. That it would be to kind of repeat a 2018 Roma Barcelona run. Like, you guys remember those nights? They were so good. They were so fun, and we deserve them. If there's one thing that we deserve is to get back playing the Champions League and to lift this fucking Europa League trophy, which is getting on our nerves. So yeah, of course, I can't disagree with the fact that there could be a high possibility of getting knocked out of the Champions League. But it's just this idea of playing against the best players in the best stadiums in the best countries and living Champions League life altogether, which still hasn't happened on the Roma Theory channel. But again, as I said before, I would not complain if we get Europa League at all, at all, at all. I want to win that trophy. So if we get back in it, it will be another battle to try and lift it. I wouldn't take the conference. I mean, I would take the Conference League, but I wouldn't. I would do it. I would treat it as Chelsea has treated it this season. Like, literally let your C team play in it. So yeah, right. We've got the first final out of 10 coming up on Sunday. Bring it on. It'll be fun. It's sad the way we crashed out. But it's football, I guess. Or maybe it's more than football. Maybe it's a system which is against us. I can't tell. But it is what it is. So yeah, Roma will become the Sevilla of the Conference League. I wouldn't sign to play in Europa. It's Champions League or nothing for me. A season without European football can help us recalibrate and finally focus on Serie A and top four. I think people have this narrative of the Europa League being so shit now that the Conference League has been. The Europa League ain't shit. There is quality in the Europa League. So, I mean, I agree with people who say no Conference League. We've won it once. I agree with that. But people who say no to the Europa League, in my opinion, discredit the quality that is in it. There is quality in the Europa League. The Europa League ain't the Conference League. The Europa League has got good quality teams in it. And as I always say, it's how this Europa League has treated us. That if you don't want revenge in it, you're missing out on something. Again, I don't want to interfere in anyone's opinion. Everyone is free to think whatever they want. I just feel like the Europa League should not isn't as shit as people describe it. There are good teams in the Europa League. There were good teams in the Europa League in the quarterfinals this season. So last season, remember, I agree with the fact that now that the Champions League teams can't relegate in it, it has lost a bit of quality, but it still has quality in it. Right, I'll catch you tomorrow with the Cagliari match preview. Ranieri also will go live tomorrow. Let's see what he says, and let's not demoralize ourselves. We're good enough to give a sense to this season. We need to be thankful to what this manager has done and to what us fans have done from September to now. There's no point in demoralizing now. We've been good to climb positions very steadily to bring us where we are now, but letting everything slip away back again would be pointless. Let's focus on these last 10 games. Let's treat them as some very important last 10 games, and wherever we get at the end of the season, we get. But fight and don't demoralize. It's gutting, I know. It's frustrating, I know. It's sad. It's annoying. I know. I want to smash a piece of glass, but there's nothing we can do about it. Hit the like, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Speak to you soon. Simo out.